Imagine one day someone from another culture decided to take something you hold sacred from your culture, telling you you are evil and savage and should no longer honor or practice these rituals. Next, imagine that these same rituals are now being practiced by the culture who banned them from you, turning them into a commodity for profit. The idea of that sounds incredibly painful and terrible. The practice of yoga is said to have been around since the beginning of civilization, originating thousands of years ago, predating any religion or belief system. Yoga itself is not connected with any religion. According to Dr. Ishwar Basawaradi of the Ministry of Affairs for the Government of India, yoga is about cultivating a deep connection with the universe. Basawaradi notes, it is literally the technology of aligning individual geometry with the cosmic. Based on the sutras or classic texts of yoga, yoga asana or posing is only one of the practice's 8 limbs. Unfortunately, the origins of yoga's true meaning have been buried beneath a heaping pile of Western cultural appropriation. Within this speech, I intend to present the following 2 arguments. First, the treatment of yoga as a solely physical activity, and second, the refusal by Westerners to acknowledge where yoga comes from. First, yoga has become synonymous with the fitness industry, a part of a mainstream media agenda. There is much emphasis on expensive athletic wear along with appropriated religious symbols, which have permeated a lucrative marketplace. Megan E. Holstein for Medium.com wrote a colorful article regarding her experience with the cultural appropriation of yoga. She highlights that the practice of yoga has been minimized and turned into a trendy exercise routine. In an article written by Maisha Z. Johnson and Nisha Ahuja for Everyday Feminism, they highlight that when walking into most yoga studios, the patron will not be greeted by an Indian or African person. Instead, the practice has been consumed by middle-aged white women of a certain income bracket, as well as those who believe yoga is about showing off extreme poses. According to research by David Gordon White for Princeton University, the basis of yoga is less to do with physical activity, having a focus centered around the human experience, combining deliverance with actualization and meditation. The further yoga is pushed into a commercialized Western frame, the more the true practice of yoga is disconnected from the practice of healing. Second, yoga stems from a tradition dating back thousands of years, stretching from South Asia to East Africa, whose people practiced Kemetic yoga. New York City-based writer and Harvard graduate Rina Deshpande explains that the colonial suppression of yoga and spirituality was often synonymous with being demonic, therefore justifying violent persecution. As a result, the deep spiritual practice was passed down secretly for many generations. Yoga was introduced to the United States in the 1920s by Paramahansa Yogananda from India. However, many Westerners, especially Americans, have no idea about its true origins. To become suitable for the West, yoga was given a new face, converted into something safe, enjoyable, and tolerable for whites, no longer being considered savage, thus erasing yoga's South Asian and African roots, creating a breeding ground for racist double standards. In conclusion, the practice of yoga for purely physical fitness goals is not actually yoga. However, there is no harm in taking an interest in yoga asanas or poses so long as yoga is being honored for its true meaning and intentions. To ignore its heritage is to support the commodification of its cultural origins for capital gain, an intention that is opposite to the core values of yoga. When exploring yoga, one should also seek to connect not only physically, but mentally as well as spiritually to the centuries-old practice from the ancient East. For some, when I began this speech, these spiritual items may have been taken for granted, seen as trendy yoga things. But hopefully now, you are more aware that they have meaning and purpose, deserving of as much respect as any other sacred object. Thank you.